Hello everybody and welcome to today's stream of Lovecraftian Video Games. This game is streaming to Facebook and Twitch, but I can't see any chatter that happens on Facebook, so if you want to talk to me directly or engage with me in the gameplay, you'll have to see me on Twitch. Also, for anyone wondering, the opening music is Nothing to Forgive by Falcon Shield. It is being played completely with permission. And also, as always, I cannot promise if this will be a short stream or a long stream, as I do spontaneously pass out sometimes. See the disclaimer in the bottom. But aside from all that, let's get to it, shall we? So, today's game, we are actually going to be replaying the games that I just tried to play earlier. So this is actually a redo stream. So, the previous stream, I tried to test out the formula, the structure I was going to go with. I explained what I was doing, and I tried to play a couple of games. I tried to play Lovecraft Tales, the demo. It's a game that hasn't been released yet officially, and also I tried to play some Darkest Dungeon. But I had a couple of hang-ups. So the first hang-up, which I didn't notice at the time, was that I've completely failed to stream the gameplay of Lovecraft Tales, and the reason for that was because my game capture was set up to capture Darkest Dungeons, which I hadn't started yet. So that was a bit of a screw up. You had something like 30 minutes of staring at Cthulhu while I just nattered on about stuff you couldn't see. But then when I ended up switching over to play Darkest Dungeons, the mouse stopped existing, which made it very difficult to navigate anything. I wasn't 100% convinced that this wasn't a feature of Darkest Dungeon, to be perfectly honest, but I quickly realized, yeah, no, this is definitely not a feature. It is completely unmanageable without being able to see the mouse. So I managed to get that fixed, but I decided to stop the stream there and just double check everything, make sure everything was working. And I am now doing this redo stream. So if you happen to tune into the previous video, this will be mostly rehashing the same content, though hopefully I'll be slightly more skilled at it this time. And for anybody else, hi! This is essentially the first real stream, or at least I hope it will be the first real stream. So let's get started, shall we? So the first game that we are going to play will be the demo to Lovecraft Tales. Now, this game, as I said earlier, has not officially been released yet. There it is. Sorry, I foolishly did not have it set up and ready to go. I just want to make sure that everything is streaming and you are getting the stream correctly. As I said earlier, you are welcome to chat with me. You are welcome to engage with me on Twitch. You are also welcome to engage with me on Facebook. I just won't see anything that's on Facebook until after the stream. The only other thing that I really want to bring up before we get started is I will be going into a little bit more about what it is that I'm doing with this thesis. I am studying Lovecraftian video games, and kind of at the moment what I'm doing is I'm assessing how Lovecraftian a lot of these games actually are, especially games that have Lovecraft literally in the title. But as part of that, I have a survey. If you're seeing this on Facebook or on Twitch, there should be a link in the description. If you go to that survey, you'll see a number of games that I have played before, and I would love it if you could jump on, do the survey, and give me your feedback. Now, I tested the survey previously with Conan Exiles and Forest, and it seemed to be working okay, but I do have a small concern, which is, can people fill out the survey more than once, or is it sort of locking into your account, or, saying, oh yeah, you filled this out, you can only fill it out the once. So I do have that slight concern, because it is very important that people are able to fill out the survey for each game that I play, or at least for as many games as you wish to provide feedback good work, me. Feedback for. So please give it a shot. If you're able to do multiple games, if you're able to go back and do a different game, that would be fantastic. And we will start the game. There we go. So this was the first attempt. We are not going to attempt that. We're going to go straight from the very start. There we go.
Memories can be so peculiar. You tend to dwell on the morbid ones. I remember that night like it was yesterday. After terrifying events in Miskatonic, we left for Dunwich, determined to put an end to this horror, once and for all. During the drive, I studied the blasphemous verses scribbled all over Wilbur Wetterly's diary, though that name no longer described the otherworldly monster that lived among humans. These vile pages contained cryptic instructions essential to the ancient ritual we had to perform. But first, we needed more help. Which is why I decided to follow the group of policemen that delved into the Cold Springs forest.
There we go. Awesome. So, as I said in the previous stream, which this is replacing, what we're doing here is we're assessing how Lovecraftian the game is. And that intro, it made some references to Lovecraft. It made references to Dunwich, it made references to, you know, other works of games, but aside from the music, in all honesty, and listening to it a second time, I agree with my assessment then. If you just change the music, that could be the intro to any film noir game. Like, you know, just a detective story of some other genre. So, that to me made it seem like, yeah, sure, this is a Lovecraft entitled and a Lovecraft-inspired game, but there doesn't actually seem, so far, to be that much that is inherently Lovecraftian. Like, it's just a few names and a grim atmosphere, and just being a grim atmosphere does not make a game inherently Lovecraftian. Now, assuming, I'm just going to double check. Yes, okay, good. We are definitely doing the gameplay streaming. Good work, me. Success. So this game appears to be essentially a bit of a platformer, which it's not what I expected when I first opened it. Come on, there we go. Oh, no, I'm dead. So I said in the previous stream, I am not necessarily good at gaming. Which I'm already doing better than I did previously, but you know, the first time I played a game, it took me way too long just to cross that. It took me way too long. I am kind of glad that particular version of the game will never ever be seen because I failed to record it properly. Whoop. Success! There we go. What's that? That was weird. Wait. So. Now, I might talk a little bit while I've got the time about what it is that I'm doing. So, my thesis is, as I said earlier, it's on dying. It's on dying and trying again. Yeah, my thesis, as I said earlier, is on Lovecraftian video games, and I'm more or less assessing whether these games are actually Lovecraftian, what it means to be Lovecraftian, how Lovecraftian they are. Okay, off in the corner there. And part of that is I have my own assessment, my own metric that I have developed from a lot of reading, and I'm going to be using that to determine, hey, is this game Lovecraftian or not? But I'm not going to be sharing that metric with any of you. And the reason for that is because I want to know, surveyors, whether you think the game is Lovecraftian or not. You may agree with me, you may disagree with me, you may have a completely different metric to what I use. And that's good. That is exactly what I want to see, hear from, all that sort of. So, please, now this is where really getting this down is a thing, but I have no idea what to use it for. Wait, is that a... Oh! Okay, this is legit, like, the furthest I've ever been in this game, because I didn't figure out how to do this last time. Awesome. Well, before we get to the next little bit, just up ahead, I'll finish what I was saying. If, like, what we play these games, I would love it for you to fill out the survey. If you've played these games before, just fill out the survey. The main thing is that you have some amount of experience with the game, or at the very least have Googled the game and had a read of the description in order to fill out the survey. And that's pretty much it. So, there is this lovely beastie here, and before I couldn't get past it, I couldn't come past it because when it tried to fight me, it was tracked. And I died. Yeah, so would do that at me. I need to figure out how to do that. Probably was get in, drop the corpse, and run out, which is a timing thing, and I don't have the best of reflexes in the world. But we'll manage. Just take a few tries. As I said, we're already much further than I got. Last time it took me like half an hour. So, what I want to know is, where are those cops? Is this one of those cops? Is that what I'm supposed to be getting from this? Happily drop it before it damn it. This is that trial and error where I need to get good at the game. This could take half an hour. So yeah, I can see a couple more people have started tuning in. I can engage with you if you join me on Twitch. If you're on Facebook, I rather can't, but I will respond to any comments, anybody talks to me, I will respond. Just for Facebook, it will have to be after the stream itself. Alright. Dragon Corpse is very Lovecraftian, that, come on. Yeah! Yeah! Best! Officially the furthest I've ever been in this, this demo of a game. Again. Whee! Whoa! And I died. Try that again. Whee! Ah, I was right there! Broke my leg and died. And again. Whee! Ooh, I did it! Success! For me, elder deities who will probably eat me at some point in this game. Like that one. Ah! Okay, that was that was just a creature in the foreground. That was not a thing that was going to hit me. Can I engage with anything here? Yes? No? Alright. Oh, I died. I think I bashed my head against the tree or something? Can't do anything there. I am trying. Oh, okay. Land ended. I feel like I should be able to engage with this. I should be able to interact with it, but it doesn't. Oh, there we go. I just was standing in a very wrong spot, I guess. Good. There we go. Guess that's as far as I can go. Maybe I have to try and grab that. Yes, go away, monster thing. Look, I'm relatively happy. As I said, this is, ooh, there we go. That looks like it's breaking. This is legit the furthest I have been in this game. So if there is legit Lovecraftian content here, this is hopefully where I'll find it. Like, what are those here? I assume they're gonna eat me if I drop down. That is just my assumption. Look at this little spindly man and his spindly legs. Spindly everything. Not sure if I can... I'm guessing that there's something I need to interact with back here. I need to drag over or something. I died! I died. And I'm all the way back here. It's okay. It's okay. We can do this. We will find a way. That, or I'll give up. One of the two. Now, I don't believe there was anything here to interact with. I know those things will try and eat me, so wait for them to leave. There we go. Don't eat me. I'm not sure how to get past here. I clearly can't jump that. There's no rope or anything I can climb. And I didn't see anything I could actually interact with here. Maybe I should try... dying? I should try dying. Definitely a thing I should try. I do like that little effect of the tree slowly breaking. It's kind of cool. This little environment, they're always nice. He says, while strange deer monsters definitely and hungrily up at me. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, there is no way I can jump over that at all. Me and my spindly body do not jump high enough. I can't push that any further, that is as far as it goes. I wonder, can I jump on that again? And no, the cart. There's no way I can get the cart from. try sneaking. Sneak. You won't notice me if I'm sneaking. I don't know why, but like sneaking, you just stand upright. I don't know if this counts as sneaking or not. Like when I'm standing up, when I'm moving, I crouch. Otherwise, I'm standing upright. It seems a bit weird that can't keep myself in a stationary position. Okay, well, I think we've hit a bit of a roadblock. Normally, I wouldn't give up on a game so quickly, but I feel like we have enough to go on. This game is a platformer more than it is anything. Like it's a vaguely Lovecraftian themed platform, and I do say vaguely because I don't see a lot of things, for me anyway, that would qualify as Lovecraft. So, we are going to take this opportunity to move on to the next start of next phase of this process. So, that's the game. That's the gameplay. Now we are going to flick over to this. So this is the metric that I'm using to measure how far removed from Lovecraftian horror a game is. So at the top of the pyramid is something that is true Lovecraftian horror. It hits all or almost every single element of what one would consider to be Lovecraftian horror. Then I've essentially got three scales going on here. I've got the aesthetic scale, I've got the horror scale, and then I've got those games which have both the Lovecraftian horror and the aesthetic. And the point of this is to see both how far removed various games are from quote-unquote true Lovecraftian horror. As I said, the definition of Lovecraftian horror is something I've developed for my thesis, but I'm not going to develop it. I'm not going to talk about it in much detail to you guys because I want to hear what you think. I want to, there might be some games that you think is a true Lovecraftian horror that I think is minimal or may not even qualify. And there's going to be a few of those, I think. So I already actually filled this out a little bit for a couple of things. So this is this is what I'm going to be using effectively for while we play. For the thesis itself, I'm going to be messing around with that image on the left. But for ease of navigation at the moment and use at the moment, I'm going to be using this Excel spreadsheet. So I've played 3 games so far, which would essentially count for the pyramid. I may or may not use them in the final product. But the first one was The Forest, which I have put down here, which is, it's definitely a horror game. The Forest is a survival horror game, but the type of horror that it is not really Lovecraftian horror. It is very survival horror. It is body horror. It is jump scare, shock and scare tactic horror. It's not really the sort of psychological or cosmic or however you would define Lovecraftian horror. It really doesn't seem to fit, to me, it doesn't fit those sorts of definitions, doesn't fit that bill. So I've put it down here. It's got a couple of elements, and I do mean a couple of elements of Lovecraftian horror, and it has a tiny amount of the aesthetic. So you've got creatures with way too many limbs, grotesque size, but I would chalk those things more as body horror than anything else. So it's right down here. It's right down on the margin of being absolutely not Lovecraftian at all. But I acknowledge that it does have at least a couple of points that are at least vaguely Lovecraftian. And I've also put the demo that we just played down here as well, the demo Lovecraft Tales. So I feel like there was a little bit of the aesthetic there, like it referenced some, like there was cameo appearances of the word Dunwich and just a couple of other Lovecraftian terms, and not even really the imagery. Like, yeah, sure, it was warped and distorted and mutated, but it doesn't really fit. Like if you try and imagine, okay, what is visually something that's Lovecraftian, I don't think it really fit that bill. It did a little, like there was a bit of it there, of course, but I just didn't. Personally, I didn't really see it that much. Now, you might disagree. And the reason I want to bring that up is because a game that isn't on this list is Conan Exiles. So Conan Exiles is a very large game. It is a very grindy game. It's another survival game. I'm sure that it does actually have some amount of story to it, and it does have some internal lore, but I haven't found it yet, and that's probably because I just have not played it nearly enough to find it. But the survey, I used Conan Exiles and The Forest as the tests for the survey to see if the survey would work, if it would give me the information I'm looking for, and most of the tests worked, but there is still one test I'm waiting on, which is the one I mentioned earlier about can you go back and do another game and another game and another game? How many times can you do the same survey? Because I'm really hoping it's not only once. I'm really hoping you can do the same survey again and again and just change, not change your answers, because I want your answers to stick. I want you to be able to retake the survey again as a separate person, as a separate entry, is the word I'm looking for. Anyway, that potential issue aside, which may mean I'll need to change the survey in future. Conan Exiles, most people ranked it as either not being Lovecraftian at all, or, yeah, there's a little bit of Lovecraft in here, like, like they gave it a 1 or 2 out of 5. But one person gave it a 4. And it's just like, okay, I didn't see that, I honestly didn't see that coming. So there might be more Lovecraftian elements in this game, in Conan Exiles, than I have so far been led to believe. So that tells me that I do need to play it more. And we could find the same thing with Lovecraft Tales. The start of this game, what we have just played, remember, it's just the demo. And I didn't even get through all of it. But there might be more Lovecraftian elements further in, and it may be very rich in the Lovecraftian aesthetic and the Lovecraftian horror. We just didn't see that in the first few minutes of gameplay. So, someone who has played the demo and has played it all the way through, or has played the entire game when said game comes out, you might disagree with me, and I want to know that disagreement. I want to know if you agree, I want to know if you disagree. I want all of that information. So that is essentially what we're doing here, is we are working out where the games fit on this pyramid, and we are doing, or I'm asking if you could do that survey, and then I'll take that information, collate it, make use of it, and interpretation out of it, and ultimately all of that will go to my thesis on Lovecraftian video games. So, we are going to be playing another game. We are going to take another stab at Darkest Dungeon because, well, the previous stab at it did not really exist. But before we do, I want to have a little bit of a talk about the games we're going to be playing and the schedule we're going to be operating under. So, these are all the games that I am going to be working with. There are 30 games in all. Some of them may not make it to the thesis itself, but these are what I have got planned to play. Most of these games I have never played before. Most of these games actually came recommended. I asked people on the HP Lovecraft Historical Society and on my own Facebook wall and my supervisors for my thesis. I asked everybody and various other friends, just like, what are your favorite Lovecraftian games? And these are the answers that came back. There's a few that I haven't included that came back, but usually I didn't include them because they only appeared the once. So I was looking for games that people did think, yes, this is a Lovecraftian game, I define this as a Lovecraftian game, and I'm going to give it a shot. So this is this is the full list of games, and as you can see, I've got them sorted in alphabetical order here, with the exception of these two, because this is the first game, this is the second game. But then I've sorted it by the minimum time and the maximum time. And this is where things get a bit iffy, because you'll notice that some games, for example Darkest Dungeon, have a minimum time of 55 hours listed to play and a max time of 107. That max time assumes that you are a completionist, but and I am not going to be a completionist, just for the record, but it's still really notable that some of these games are heavy time investments in order to just get through the main story, and that's assuming that you move at a relatively rapid pace, which I don't have the best of reflexes in the world, so it will probably take me longer than average to play through some of these games. So what I'm looking at doing, here we have the schedule, is I'm going to be doing a little bit of a back and forth. I'm going to be opening every game session with a short game and then a long game. And the plan at the moment is to focus on Darkest Dungeon, try and get that out of the way. Just short game, long game, short game, long game. But we might change that up. If people message me and say, hey, we're getting bored with watching Darkest Dungeon, you guys, I'll listen to that, and maybe we'll switch to a different game. For example, we might switch to Cultist Simulator for a session or two, or I might do a couple of short games back to back, or I might break it up a bit and do something like what is it? Which was sorry, it was these two, Shadow of the Comet and Prisoner of Ice. Like, they're relatively short games. I could probably just do one session, break it up a little bit, and just do that for the whole session. So yeah, what I am planning on doing, so this is where it gets a little bit iffy, is, as I said at the start of this video, I have got a disability. I spontaneously pass out for hours at a time. And because it's spontaneous, and because it's hours at a time, it also messes with my sleep schedule. For example, at the moment, it is about 9:30 a.m. here, and the first stream that I tried, which I utterly failed at, I started at 7 a.m. I was awake several hours before that, so I can't necessarily guarantee that I will be awake in the evening. If I try and commit, which I'm going to try and commit to doing Monday night and Tuesday night gaming schedule, and trying to consistently game in those hours. And if I do that, I'm going to focus on playing some of the role-playing games so that you can follow kind of a consistent storyline. But I can't guarantee that I will even be awake in those hours. I can't guarantee I'll be conscious in those hours. We could be streaming and I might lose consciousness partway through the stream. So there is every possibility that me attempting to have a schedule is not going to work very well. And so most likely I'll be playing these games relatively ad hoc. It will be, am I conscious? Yes. Well, then let's get playing. And that's why I've chosen this structure. That's why I've chosen this structure of do a little short game first and then switch to the long game. Now, obviously, this isn't going to last for very long because I'm going to run out of short games fairly quickly. So I'm not sure how hard I'm going to stick to this schedule. I may change. I may come up with a better idea moving forwards. But that is essentially the plan, is short game, long game, and if people really want to, I'll just switch back over here, people really want to see one of these games in particular sooner rather than later, message it to me. Tell me, hey, I want to watch this. Please play this. We will do it. So, now that all that bit of housekeeping is nice and out of the way, we are going to try and see if we can play Darkest Dungeon. I want to get that started. Alright. Let's see. Can I... There we go. You can probably hear the audio in the background.
Ruin has come to our family.
You remember our venerable house?
There we go.
Opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets, exhausting what remained of our family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal of antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth, but we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity, until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
Okay, so the Darkest Dungeon is about making the most of a bad situation. Quests will fail or must be abandoned. Heroes will die, and when they die, they stay dead. Progress autosaves constantly, so no actions are actions are permanent, so no actions are permanent. The game expects a lot out of you. How far will you push your adventurers? How much are you willing to risk? And then run out of text to continue speaking. So, I love that intro. I really do. It has a number of elements that you would consider Lovecraftian, a few that you might not. But I think that's actually a really good game intro in general anyway. Now, first question, yes! We have a mouse! We did not have a cursor last time. So that is already a stirring victory. So, let's see, I have played this game before. I haven't played it very much. I only got to week 3, which really is not that far into the game at all. So I don't have a lot of experience with this game, but of course I do have some, which is going to make it easier and quicker for me to kind of place it on the pyramid. But there's a lot of information that I just don't know. So for example, when I played originally, I did not have all of these expansions. I do have all of these expansions now. I'm going to get rid of this one, so if I recall correctly, so I'll double check. Yeah, there we go. Increases the complexity. It is recommended for experienced players. I am not an experienced player. There we go. For the fainter part, no forgiveness, radiant while still counting just to be faster and more forgiving. Look, I realise that this would be the best way to play a game like this, but I am not good enough to play a game at harder. I am not good enough to play, so I am actually going to play easy mode, because what we're looking for here is the lore. We are looking into the mechanics, but we're looking to see if this game has those Lovecraftian elements, and we'll see more if we pick the easy mode. So that is what we are doing. There we go. That is what we're going to call it. Enable VDLC. Let's start it. Okay.
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling, serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient, pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors.
Such a good description.
So steel yourself, and remember there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
Alright, with the stagecoach destroyed and the caretaker gone, you will have to make the journey to the hamlet on foot. Alright, I assume that this amounts to the tutorial. As I have played this game before, but it was years ago. Like, it was before the expansions. I think it was back when it first came out, so years ago. Pre-COVID, so I think decades ago, really. Regardless, I might bring up again, if you're watching on Facebook, if you make any comments, I can't see them. I will respond to them after the stream, but I can't respond to them during it. If you're watching on Twitch, you should be able to message me, and I should see the response. I have had a couple of issues with that in the past, so I apologize if that comes up again, but you should be able to comment on the Twitch stream. So, I'm actually going to double check that right now. Before we get started, I just want to double check, make sure that everything is at least theoretically working. Because it would not be the first time that I have had issues. Okay, it is saying that I am currently live, and I can see the screen. I can see where we are right now. So this is fantastic. Excellent. Alright. So, on the assumption that everything is actually operating smoothly, let's get to it. So, the map, navigation, you're currently in a room, not in the wilderness. You lie, game. To move, click on another room on the map display. This will take you to the connecting hallway. See a map here to look at, but okay, I can walk, move, etc. Click this thing. Oh, there.
Brigands have run up these lanes. Keep to the side path. The hamlet is just ahead.
Well, in the hallway, press D to move forwards, A to move back, big tap money up. If you prefer the mouse, you can move ahead or behind the party. Okay, cool. Well, let's use the WASD keys. Oh, there we go.
Send these vermin a message. The rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer welcome.
Yeah. Go away, bandits. Conflict skill. Sorry, I'll start again. Combat turn-based. On your hero's turn, click the skill icon and then click on a highlighted target. You can't select a particular skill, it's because that hero needs to be standing in a different spot, or there are no valid targets. Positioning is important. Mouse over the skill to see the requirements. Okay. So this dude, Dismuck, is going first. Shoot him. Ah, he dodged. Hey, he dodged. Alright, what can we actually do here? I could smite him. I don't think he counts as unholy though. He seems to be a human. It's a ranged attack. Less damage, less crit. Stunning blow. You know what? I do want to stun him. That sounds good, and will work. Okay, let's just stun him. But I feel like this is a game where, and I know I've played this game before. I just don't remember most of it. I feel like this is a game where taking any amount of damage is bad, because continual damage. Let's do that again.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Yeah. Loot! Each item, if you take it, will occupy space in your inventory. Mouse over items to show details about them. This works in your inventory too. Press escape to close this window. Money! We'll take all of the money. Okay, something just happened. How do I... Hold. Yeah, I get that. Oh, it's the tent. Someone has camped here recently.
A handsome reward for a task well performed. Leave nothing unchecked. There is much to be found in forgotten places.
Leave nothing unchecked. Okay. And that's how I switch them around, I guess. I'm not sure what that means. It seems to be trying to alert me to something, but not sure.
Dispatch this thug in brutal fashion, that all may hear of your arrival.
Alright, let's have a look. So, a lot more options have opened up for this guy. So, tracking shots, bypasses stealth, de-stealth self, increases overall damage. So that looks like I just mark targets. Pistol shots, extra damage versus mark him, that's kill him. That one is the bleed and debuff. Grape shot. Does that affect more than one person? Oh, I think I see. Okay, so this one affects the first 3 people in the line. You see the red dot with the connection. So long as he is standing in one of those 2 positions of the 4, it will attack everybody in the first 3 slots. Whereas this one, you can't target it against the first, so I can't target the big guy with that, but I can target the fat guy with the gun. So we're going to do that. We're going to target him. And we are going to stun him. We are not going to stun him. Ah! Oh, that becomes a problem, because now he is in the wrong position. I cannot use my pistol shot. Ooh, that is a problem. I did not know that they switch like that, or if I did, I do not remember that they switch like that. So, okay, he's at least stunned. I'd be very embarrassed if I died to the fucking second fight of the game. Switch him around? Yes, okay, cool. Just keep stunning that dude. No! Ah! Rain of Wits did absolutely nothing, but it looks like they got some sort of debuff or something. Let's,
Annihilated.
Yeah, we annihilated him. Whew. I am slightly more confident about surviving. Alright, let's kill him and let's just keep him stunned. Hey, he was supposed to be stunned. I guess one of those buffs that he got de-stunned him. Come on, you can do this. Yeah.
Alone does not dissuade the sharpened blade.
And I got a helmet that's only for mounting hunters, some gold, and some food. And I completed a quest. You have the option to return to town, just click the crest. Okay. return to Hamlet or continue adventuring. You know what? I'm actually going to continue adventuring. And the reason I'm going to continue adventuring, something doesn't seem quite right. It is trapped. Was there a way? I may have missed it. If there was a way to check for traps. Oops. Select the destination on the map. I guess there is nowhere else to explore, I guess. Just the icon. I got money! I got 5,000 bucks. It's more than I have in real life. What does that do? Plus 10% damage on rage skills. That seems good. You know what I should have done? I should have checked for some mods. That would have been fun. But no,
Welcome home,
I should not have done that.
such as it is. This squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound to them.
Awesome. So, about first quest, and somebody was talking to me or something. I guess they leveled up. Oh, Reynold isn't me, and Dismas isn't me. I thought that one of them might have been. Okay. They just escorted me. Get help where you may on any screen in the game. Press and hold A. Check up. Controls in that mod. Down, exploring, fighting, camping, and more. Alright. This is where we recruit you heroes, I guess?
Women and men, soldiers and outlaws, fools and corpses. All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
Okay. I have the options for Plague Doctor and a Vestal, which I assume is related to the Vestal Virgins, the ancient Roman priestess situation. So clearly this is a fantasy universe. This is not representing us, because I don't think Vestals were a thing in, well, any time period when this stagecoach existed. So, let's see, can I...
What better laboratory than the blood-soaked battlefield?
Send some of your heirlooms upgrading to stagecoach network. This will increase the number of heroes available in the future. Maybe.
Trinkets and charms, gathered from all the forgotten corners of the earth.
I guess this is a buff of some sort? I don't know if you equip that to somebody or not. Upgrading Nomad Wagon improves the trinket purchase selection and reduces their cost. Well, that's nifty. I don't really want to, like, I wanted to buy some more heroes because I know I'm going to need them going in. I'm not sure what other...
Most will end up here, covered in the poisoned earth, awaiting merciful oblivion.
Yeah, you look so happy at that. Don't look so happy about all of the dead people.
In time, you will know the tragic extent of my failings.
This is just showing all of the little cinematics. There's quite a few cinematics, I guess. This, I think, is what we're ultimately going to be really looking for, because Color of Madness is where I've been told the most Lovecraftian elements reside. But, yes, conclude the final stage of your campaign. Yeah, that's going to be a long while away. At least 55 hours, according to the internet. And this is how I must be able to upgrade the stagecoach. Okay. I think I'm definitely going to want to do this earlier rather than later, but higher level increases the size of the hero roster, so I assume that means like 3 or 4 people will turn up. Increases the number of increase the number of recruits available higher. Change will take effect after you return from your next quest. Increases the size of the hero roster. So does that mean that like these are 4 different types of heroes? so that increases the additional types of heroes that can spawn, whereas this is additional characters in general. That's what I'm just going to assume. It doesn't seem to be right. Maybe that's suggesting, because I know that there is a system where you have some characters go with you and some characters stay behind. Maybe that's what that's about. So that you can have, you know, 13 heroes in total, with 4 going out on adventures and the other 7 sticking around behind. I'm guessing that. I'm very much guessing that. So I currently have 4 out of 10 that I can have, and this allows me to have up to 13. Okay, that makes a degree of sense. Not 100% certain what all of this is doing, but I guess we'll come back to this later. Embark! There isn't much more you can do in town right now. Click on the embark button at the bottom of the screen. Screw that, I'm going to at least have a look at the rest of the town. Tavern! The complete more question unlocked, complete more question unlocked, complete more question unlocked, complete more question unlocked, complete more question unlocked. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean about how there's not much more to do in town. You ancestors. Oh, so that. Okay, so this is actually a short menu of the town. So that's graveyard, that's ancestors' memoirs, and that's stagecoach. Okay, so all these locked things are those same locked things. Okay, that is some information. Before we get started though, because I do want to spend the money I've got. But I want to make sure that I'm doing things right. Or at least that I know everything I'm doing. So that's only for a bounty hunter, and none of these guys are bounty hunters. Also, I hope the audio balance is coming through alright. I did try and set it up well in advance, but it's certain that it's worked how I want it to. This is just a glossary of terms. Get most of that as I go along. Add right up menu. Alright, well, look, I definitely want to spend some money upgrading this. So let's do that, and okay, I guess I can't upgrade that further. And I think I want to be able to have, like, if I'm going to have a rotation going on, I think it'd be good to be able to rotate through. This would allow me to rotate through 2 full groups. I think it would be good to be able to rotate through up to 3. I don't think I should need more than that. I'm guessing here. I've never gone far enough in, but
great heroes can be found even here, in the mud and rain.
What do I actually need in order to get that? Instructor mastery at 1, weaponsmithing 1, armor smithing level 1. So that must be all these different things. Okay. Alright, I guess we're gonna embark. Do I need a heal or something? Can I heal? I don't know. I hope they are fully healed.
A mecca of madness and morbidity. Your work begins.
This is where you select a quest and form an adventuring party of 4 heroes to embark on it. Click on quest to see their details, drag heroes into their slots at the bottom to make to form your party and default party order. So, am I able to see? Okay, I can actually see what they do. So, I don't think I want him at the front, to be honest. I wanted him a bit further back. Up. Third position. That's useful. They all love being in that third spot. That is... I don't know why I can't check. Oh. What? Okay, that is weird. There we go. That's working better now. Alright, so he loves to be in the front too. She loves to be near the back. They all love to be near the back, apparently. Except he is fine. He is actually fine in second position, so I might actually move him there. I know roughly what those guys are, so let's have a look at this guy. Noxious Blast, back one of the 2 target. I apologize if it's boring. This is why I want to try and do the grindy games as the ad hoc games, because there'll be a lot of this type of stupidly boring content for you. So you know what? I'm actually going to stop here. I'm actually going to save the game. Oh wait, it autosaves. Okay, cool. I am actually going to stop here, because I can do all of this nitty-gritty, grindy stuff in a later stream. You've already got some idea of what this game looks like, how it plays, where the Lovecraftian elements are probably going to come from. There may be others in other ways, but we've got a general impression of this game at the stage. So, let's exit. And we are back here, and we are back at the Lovecraftian horror pyramid. So what are we looking at the moment? Well, there's definitely, let's just write it in, Darkest Dungeon. Well, there's definitely some amount of the aesthetic, that there's definitely some of that in there. There's been the terminology, there has been, like, some imagery, to a greater or lesser extent, and the style, the type of horror, like the storytelling mode, it is very reminiscent of Lovecraftian horror. So I definitely think it's going to be going somewhere in the middle. Because it's a grindy game, I feel like it's going to be less on the horror side than it necessarily should be. It'll definitely have a bunch of elements of horror, but I feel like this isn't going to be a horror game. This is going to be a grind game built on a horror setting, which is not quite the same thing as playing a horror game. So I feel like that is going to be in the middle somewhere. It may even ultimately be winding up more under aesthetic than under horror, but I feel like it should actually appear in here somewhere. So we're going to stick it at average right now. So it might end up being higher, it might even end up being lower, but I feel like this is a reasonable standpoint. Now, I am going to go over my metric in more detail. I've got about 17 or 18 points to my definition of true Lovecraftian horror. And of course, I don't have them all memorized at this stage. So I am going to, like, offline, I'm going to have a look, and I'm going to decide exactly where I think this should be. And the more I think about it, the more I think this is actually going to end up lower than average. I think that this is actually going to drop down a few steps. I think it'll still end up in this middle section, in the Lovecraftian horror and aesthetic, not actually in the minimal section, but it absolutely may get dropped down a bit. But we're also only at the start. We've only just opened the game up. There could be much more Lovecraftian elements the further we go into this game. I understand that there is a madness mechanic. I understand that there is a sense of dread throughout gameplay. So it may even raise up from here. But for the time being, this is where I'm going to put it. If you do the survey, please don't actually use it at this stage, because I want to play it a bit more before I put it firmly in place. And at the very least, I want to have a look and try and decide offline. So this is just an estimate right now. We will ultimately see. In the meantime, I think that'll be it for this stream. I want to try and keep it short because this is the quote-unquote official first gameplay. I also really want to get back to reviewing the footage and making sure everything is working fine, that everything is clean, that everything is crisp. So all of that. And the last thing that I really want to cover off is I can see we've had a few viewers join us. I assume you've all joined in via Facebook because I haven't seen any comments on Twitch. But if whether you're on Facebook or whether you're on Twitch, doesn't really matter because you can always watch this stuff on Twitch for the next 7 days. And I plan to upload many of these videos, not all of these videos. For Darkest Dungeon, it'll probably just be a highlights reel. But I plan to upload things to YouTube. So these things will be around for a long time. Which is going to be very important for the survey. As I said at least twice earlier in the stream, I may have to change the survey format, the website that I'm using and all that sort of stuff, if it doesn't provide me the level of service that I actually am looking for, which at this stage is making sure that people can submit for each game. I don't want to have a situation where somebody submits once for one game and then the survey rejects them for submitting on the basis of any other game. And I don't really want to try and create a survey for every single game individually, because that would be very messy and almost impossible to compare data. So the survey may change in future, but for the time being, and certainly if it does change in future, I'll go back over whatever videos there are and edit the description so it will be the correct survey. Just please stay tuned, and if I do have to change the survey, I will bring it up in a couple of videos in future and say the survey has changed, please redo your votes, please recast your survey. But in the meantime, I hope that was vaguely entertaining. Because this is the first essential time, I am open to any and all feedback. If you found me engaging, if you found me not engaging, if you really hate that sketch in front of you and want it gone, sure thing. In the meantime, I guess that'll be it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you... if I'm awake in about 6 to 8 hours, I'll probably do another stream, so that it'll be evening my time. But if not, about 30 hours from now, which will be Monday evening my time, Monday evening my time, probably I think that would be lunchtime for Malta, UK, places in Europe. And for America, I think that would be stupidly early hours. But I'm going to try and do another stream in about 8 hours and then probably about 24 hours after that. So we will see. In the meantime, I hope you have a good evening or morning or whatever time it is. Oh, that was just confusing. Farewell.